These are 5 moments of truth, and sometimes people want to know what is a moment of truth. And I want you to imagine that you had the ability to walk onto the inside of a camera. Now, if you walked into a camera, it would be dark, wouldn't it? You wouldn't be able to see your way around. And the neat thing about a camera, let's say that we have a 35mm camera, is that there are times when the shutter opens and the light comes in. That's a moment of truth. At that moment, things appear differently. As a matter of fact, at that moment, your life changes because you see your life more clearly than you probably have ever seen it before. That is a moment of truth. Learning to become a leader, and as women, I am so proud to work with women because it gives me an opportunity to be a role model, to be a mentor, and to be a student of other women. And I know who's changing this world. Don't you? But when that shutter comes open and you feel that light illuminating upon you and you start looking around and you see things that are different, you know it's time to get busy. So if you'll open up your workbook to the section that says Jane Herron, you'll notice that there is a diagram that looks just like this. We're going to take a few notes. We're going to take a few little bits of a test. And I want to give you a little bit of information. I want to give you 5 pieces of information. If you'll write that in at the top. I want to give you some information about the 5 moments of truth before we begin to start looking at our 5 moments. The first piece of information is, we've already identified what is a moment of truth, but the first, number 1, that I want to have you write down is that these 5 moments of truth are sequential. As you look at your life and you begin to notice your own moments of truth, you'll notice that as we go into these moments, that they are sequential. In other words, 1 is a prerequisite for 2. The shutter opening of the first opening in your life will illuminate who you are when the shutter opens the second time. And 2 is a prerequisite for 3, and 3 is a prerequisite for 4, and 4 is a prerequisite for 5. Please pay attention when we go through these 5 moments, because you might notice people in your life who have zipped ahead and gone to moment 5 before they have done moment 1. And those are the people who are suffering the greatest at this time in their life, because they haven't gone from the inside out. They haven't done their own work first. So, the 5 moments of truth are sequential. Secondly, they are progressively more difficult. You know, it's interesting because, more difficult in the thought that sometimes it's a lot like an intramural. You know how they win one game and then they move on up to a higher risk and then they play off and then they play off to a higher risk. That's a lot like our life, isn't it? Except what happens, I think, in life is a lot of people have a test. Many of the people in this room, I can guarantee, have had life tests. And some of us stop because we get into the suffering instead of looking at how that suffering has produced growth and prepared us for the people that we're supposed to be in assisting others. So you're going to notice that as we go through these 5 moments of truth, as you approach them in your life, that they will be progressively more difficult. Guaranteed. That's why we had you write it down. Okay. Number 3 is they are progressively more empowering. Progressively more empowering. Basically says that if we looked at synergy, the single part, as we add those parts up, it creates a greater part. Each moment of truth is significant in your life. Each trial or tribulation is significant in your life. But when we then bring them together, it creates a synergy in you, a power in you that no one else can understand, probably except for you. Except when you share it with someone else. So they're going to be continuing to be more empowering. Number 4 is They are within our own circle of influence. If you've read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, you know that you have your circle of influence and you have your circles of concern. Dr. Covey says it this way: until we can honestly say and believe, I am what I am today and where I am today, and doing what I am doing because of choices I made yesterday, I cannot say I choose otherwise. See, the circle of influence says I am response-able. I am in charge of being the creator of my life, and everything that has happened to me in my life, I have participated in the creation process. How many people believe that? We see a raise of hands. So this stops me from blaming others because it gives me an opportunity to say, how did I attract this, or how did I create this in my life? I start getting very responsible in my life and accountable. I think I've heard that term a couple times today. I like Marilyn Ferguson. Marilyn Ferguson said it this way in her Aquarian Conspiracy. She said, in the last analysis, no one can persuade another to change. Is that not true? Each of us guards a gate of change that can only be opened from the inside. We cannot open the gate of another either by an argument or by emotional appeal. Ladies, you are going to walk up to that gate of change, and you are the only one that can walk through that gate. You can encourage, you can invite, you can request that other people go to that 12-step program. That they will go through the recovery process. You can point it out to them on how much they need it. But the only person can cross through that gate of change is you. And that's a moment of truth.